And we are very happy, ladies and gentlemen, to have Ohad with us. He's the part of Foreign Affairs and Security Committee, and he's not going to tell about what he's doing.
And I'm not going to kill anyone.
Well, so these definitely are historic days, but you know, you really saw the backstage of what was happening with Iran. What a bold step. I mean, when it happened on June 12, we didn't know
13.
until, well, you know, 13. When they, we didn't know what was happening until 3 o'clock in the night when we all got these alarms. Right. Go to the shelter. And there was nothing really happening on our side until maybe 12, right. 24 hours later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that was actually history in front of our eyes. But you know that this story doesn't begin on June 13th. It actually doesn't even begin on October 7th. It actually begins in 1979, the revolution that happened in Iran. You all know that before that, Israel and Iran, we were the best friends. We had daily flights from Tehran to Tel Aviv. People were making business, right? Am I correct, sir? Okay. And since the revolution in Iran, everything changed dramatically. And you have to understand that Khamenei, in his view, he believes that he was sent by God to destroy the little Satan, which is us, and the big Satan, which is, of course, you guys. And I don't know if you know, but it became now more a known fact that in Tehran they have a huge clock in a square called the Palestine Square, counting down for the destruction of Israel. This is how radical and crazy they are. I mean, it's not just ideology. They had a practical plan of how to destroy Israel that had 3 pillars. One is to surround Israel with army of 6 proxies, 6 big armies around Israel, which we call the Ring of Fire. Second, the ballistic missile plan, which they had 3,000 ballistic missiles at the eve of the war. And the third is, of course, the nuclear plan. And thank God, we've managed to take down their entire plan. You know that it started actually last year on 27th of September, when Prime Minister Netanyahu came here to the UN General Assembly in New York, and he stood on a podium and he spoke about the vision of blessing versus the vision of curse. And after he finished speaking, he went out to the back room, and he picked up his phone and he called the chief of staff and he told him, go. And at 6:20 Israel time, the Israeli jets were over Beirut and they dropped the bombs on what used to be Nasrallah. And that was a pivotal moment in the war, because right after that we are getting the intel that Khamenei gave the order to speed up the plan, to expand the production of missiles from 80 to 300 per month, to speed up the enrichment of the uranium, and to move on with promoting their plan. So on November of 2024, the cabinet in Israel made the decision. We realized that we have a very short time to operate, and he gave the order to the army to prepare for the strike. The initial date, we wanted to do that in mid-April.
Thank you for changing these dates, because we were supposed to have Jerusalem prayer breakfast in the last week of May.
Okay, so that would not be a good idea to do that back then. But because of that President Trump decided that he wants to negotiate a little bit with the Iranians before, we moved it to June 13th, and at 11 o'clock at night, at the night between Thursday and Friday, the Israeli planes left, hundreds of planes, and thank God they managed to all gather in the right time, in the right locations, and to take down the entire leadership of the Iranian security forces, their chief of staff, the commander of IRGC, all their nuclear scientists, the commander of the Air Force, together with all the leadership of the Iranian Air Force. You know that they plan to have on the first strike 500 missiles at Israel in one moment. 500. Now, this is why you got the alarm at 3 o'clock in the morning, despite the fact that nothing was happening yet, but because we knew that this is what they were planning, we had to wake up everybody and to send everybody to the bunkers. So this is what they planned, 500 missiles at one second, and thank God it didn't happen. You know why it didn't happen? Because simply there was nobody to give the order. Nobody was there to give the order. And also, on the same night, thousands of Israeli drones that were launched from all across the Middle East. I cannot say exactly where from, but from many places in the Middle East, they were launched to hunt all the launchers of these ballistic missiles, and they took them down. And at the end of the day, we took down their entire nuclear plan of Iran, Isfahan, Fordow, Natanz. They're all gone. I know there's a big debate in America's media here if we have destroyed everything or not. Listen, this is, I don't want to say not politically correct words, so I will not say, but this is nonsense, okay? I cannot promise you, it's true that I cannot promise you that we destroyed every last room in the Fordow facility. I cannot promise that. You know what? I don't know that yet, and they don't know that yet, because nobody was there to check. They cannot reach these places, okay? But it doesn't really matter, because the entire nuclear plant, all their scientists, all their facilities, even their archives, all gone. And of course, they can always rebuild everything, but it will take them years, and we will do everything we can to make sure that it will never happen again. So they don't have a nuclear plan. They don't have their ballistic missile plan. All their proxies didn't manage to do anything in these 12 days, anything. We dismantled them one by one, and thank God, I think we are looking at a totally different Middle East. Thank you to President Trump for being there with us, showing leadership, showing a moral compass, and doing the right thing, being on the right side of history, and we did it together.
Well, I think there was a lot of, yeah, please, give him a hand. There was a lot of very smart misinformation, I think, being also planted. I think you mentioned earlier how Netanyahu spoke at the UN, calming down the leaders in Lebanon, that everything is fine. And also there was, I think, a lot of signals given like, hey, you can negotiate with America, and so Israel will not attack during this time. And there was also the thing with the B-2, the bombers, that there were like two batches of them. Can you say anything about that? No, you can't say anything about that. No. Next question.
They're nice. I like them.
Next question. This was also mentioned here earlier. Jim Gallo, I don't know if Jim is here, but he mentioned this unfortunate development within the conservative ranks with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, and they're claiming that Israel is dragging the U.S. into an unnecessary war. What's your response?
You know, well, I can speak about it for an hour, but we don't have that much of a time. So I would say that, you know, I support the approach of America first. I think you have many problems. You should take care of your country. I think it serves our interest that America will be strong. But I think looking at this issue, like, you know, we have the ocean, it can protect us, so we should not be involved with anything that happens in the world. That's, to say the least, that's naive and very childish. because there is no vacuum in the world, okay? If America will not be strong, other forces who wants to see America falls, they'll get stronger. And you know, China, for example, China is a serious, serious threat to America. Okay, they want to push America away from the Middle East. They understand that the Middle East is the energy source of the planet. They want to have their project of what they call the BRI, okay? This is what they want to do. America wants to have their project called the IMAC, right? It's either this or that. And this alliance of China, Iran, Russia, if America will not be strong, they will use it, and it will affect every American in his pocket. It will affect every American in what is happening in this country. And look at what is happening now in countries like the UK and other European countries. I mean, you know that the most common name in the UK today is Muhammad? Do you know that I think 8 or 9 of the mayors of the biggest cities in the UK are Muslims? So you can fool yourself that America first, so we are not doing anything and it will be okay. No, it will not be okay. America must be strong. And I think what we've seen in the 12-day war with Iran is how this alliance between Israel and America is important, not just for Israel, but for America as well. You know that in the Middle East, America has army bases in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Syria, in Kuwait. You know where you don't have an American base?
In Israel.
In Israel. You know why? Because we are doing the dirty work for America. We are fighting America's enemies in the Middle East each and every day. You know that we provide America. Thank you. We provide America with intelligence more than all the NATO countries together. So we are allies with America, and I know that you're traumatized by the war in in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I understand. But I think using Israel as your proxy in the Middle East, your close ally, enemy who fights for you without endangering one American soldier, that is the smart way of using force. I think Israel is the closest ally, most cost-efficient ally, most reliable ally to the United States, and we have all the intention to keep building this alliance.
Thank you, Ohad. Now, it has been also mentioned during this prayer breakfast, this unfortunate attempt. Of course, Macron started with this, and now I don't know for what UK has what interest UK has in this all. You just mentioned, of course, they have a very diverse population that they need to please, but France, UK, Canada, what can we do about it?
First of all, we need to recognize the fact that there are broken countries, rotten from within. They've lost their desire to fight back against the threats that are posed to their countries. I mean, unfortunately, I think that Europe is quite lost. I think that these countries, they've lost their way, and you know, we should be sorry for them. We should be sorry for them. Yeah. I mean, again, as I've said, if the most common name in Britain is Muhammad, what does it mean about the future of these countries? So they're lecturing us about how to handle threats? I mean, I think they don't understand that we've learned from the mistakes they've done. You know that in 1938, Neville Chamberlain, right, the British Prime Minister, he thought that if he will appease Germany, that will bring peace to his country.
Peace in our time.
Yeah, peace in our time, right? This is what he thought. And he signed the shameful Munich Agreement. What happened 2 years later? 43,000 British lost their lives by the bombing from the Nazi Germany. We are not willing to go repeat the same mistakes. We have learned from history, and we will stand up and we will fight no matter what the world has to say about it.
Thank you. You know, we have people from UK here, Barbara Dingle and others, and of course you represent United Kingdom as well. It's a very painful thing, I think, to see how these things have deteriorated. And
so we are praying. We are praying for your country as well.
And we need to see a revival in England. That's maybe the only way out of this situation. Now, there's been some interesting developments also in Judea and Samaria that has really surprised everybody. You know, there's been always this talk of two-state solution and the Palestinian Authority being the partner for peace. But now suddenly there's been some sheikhs in Hebron,
right,
of all places, who have said, no, look, we don't want to do anything with Palestinian Authority, and we want to have our own Abraham Accords with Israel. What do you know about that?
So I'm speaking quite a lot in the last couple of years about the need to apply full Israeli sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. And what is happening is unbelievable. In the last couple of months, we have several Palestinian leaders from Judea and Samaria who realized, like many Arab leaders all across the Middle East. I can tell you that I'm speaking now on a regular basis with leaders from Iraq, leaders from Iran, leaders from Syria, from many countries in the Middle East who are telling me, we understand that Israel is not part of our problem. Israel is the solution to our problems. And now it's not just happening in the Middle East, but it's also happening in Judea and Samaria. Palestinian leaders, I don't like to call them Palestinians, okay? Arab leaders who are saying courageously and publicly, we had enough. We had enough of the corruption of the PA. We had enough of the terror. We had enough of Hamas. We had enough. We want to recognize Israel. We want to join the Abraham Accords. We want you to apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. So this is the miracle. It's already happening, and I am certain that we will see more and more leaders like them coming up and saying that. You know, I just met a week and a half ago with these 5 sheikhs from Hebron, together with Ambassador David Friedman and a small group of people to facilitate that. And I think that is a historic opportunity that will really bring us the peace, the stability, the prosperity that we were promised, and not the illusions of the two-state illusion.
Oh, that's well said. Two-state illusion. I think that's a very, very precise description of that sickness.
Yep.
It definitely is. And I think you have been working with Ambassador Friedman also for a few years now. One Jewish state project.
Yeah.
It's bigger than project, vision. And I actually have tried to convince you to institute something called virtual citizenship, virtual Israeli citizenship for our Christian friends.
Yeah.
Now, we didn't plan this.
They like your idea.
I think, I mean, let's vote. If you would be offered a virtual citizenship in Israel, how many of you would like to be part of that project?
Wow.
I think it is a sense of belonging and sense of you know, being part that Israel would actually need, because we have 600 million, if not more, evangelical Christians who might become our friends. They're not automatically our allies, but I think there is a great potential here.
Definitely. But because you spoke about my work with David Friedman, Ambassador David Friedman, I want to share with you a little bit of my thoughts. How much time more do we have?
You have some more time.
Okay, great.
I'm with you.
I want to now speak a little bit spiritually. Is that okay with you? You know that in 1967, June 7th, 1967, was a historic day. At 9:30 o'clock in the morning, Mota Gur, the commander of the paratrooper brigade, is standing on Mount Scopus with all his soldiers and is giving the historic order to move on to the old city of Jerusalem, to bring it back to the Jewish people after 2,000 years. Half an hour later, almost with no battle, the paratroopers got into the Temple Mount, and Mota Gur was screaming to the radio, Har Habayit Biyadenu. The Temple Mount is in our hands. Now that's the part of the story that everybody knows, right? There's another part that almost nobody knows, and that is that two young soldiers from paratroopers climbed the peak of the Dome of the Rock, and they put the Israeli flag on the Dome of the Rock. And you know why nobody knows that this ever happened? Because the Minister of Defense, the Israeli Minister of Defense, Moshe Dayan, gave the order immediately to take the flag down. And he was so furious, and he said that if he could do that, he would run to Temple Mount and tear down the flag with his teeth. And he gave back the keys of Temple Mount to the Arabs. Now, I can tell you, I grew up in a secular family. I remember as a young kid hearing this story, and I couldn't understand what is wrong with us. What is wrong with us? How could it be that the great Israel can defeat, on the Six-Day War, can defeat all of Arab air forces, to take them down in one day, to take the Sinai Peninsula, to take the Golan Heights, everything we can do. But to put the flag on Temple Mount, which this is the moment we were waiting for 2,000 years, this is too hard for us. And I believe that we are now in the same moment like 1967. Look at how relatively easy it was for Israel to strike in Iran, 2,000 kilometers away from our borders, to take down the entire army of proxies, to take the nuclear plant away. Relatively easy. But how hard it is for Israel to take back Judea and Samaria, to take down Hamas in Gaza. How hard it is for us. And you know why? You know why it's hard? Because taking down the entire air forces of all Arab armies, just like striking in Tehran, it's practicing the same muscle that we've practiced in the past 2,000 years. The muscle of survival. Putting the flag on Temple Mount and taking back Judea and Samaria and Gaza, that means that we have to recognize our identity. It means that we have to recognize our sovereignty. It means that we have to recognize, as I told you yesterday about the nations, but it's also our problem. We have to recognize that the land of Israel belonged to the people of Israel. And you know why the land of Israel belonged to the people of Israel? Because this is what God said.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, we are afraid of that. We are afraid of admitting that. We are afraid of doing that. And we have forces within us who are trying to put every obstacle, to do everything they can to prevent that from happening. And I think that is the greatest challenge of our generation. I know that a lot of people love to donate money to army units, or to Magen David Adom, or to all these initiatives who help to protect lives and everything. But I believe that the biggest project that we should promote, you know what it is? To push the idea of applying sovereignty. Because if we really want to save lives, if we really want to change the reality, if we really want to change the course of history, this is what we should do. So just to conclude, and I don't want to take much of your time.
No, you should speak about the Middle East Conference.
Okay, so this is exactly, thank you for asking about the Middle East Conference. Thank you. So about a year ago, I introduced, together with Ambassador David Friedman, a summit in Jerusalem. We call it the Middle East Summit, a new vision for truth-based peace. That was a year ago when, after David wrote his book, One Jewish State.
By the way, highly recommended. I would recommend you to buy it on Amazon or get the Audible version. It's worth listening. He's a very good author. Actually, his second book as well, The Sledgehammer.
Right.
I mean, these are the modern-day Nehemiah books. Sorry to interrupt.
And I told David, you know, you're going all across America to tell about your vision, to tell about your book, which is a great thing to do. But you know what is the real challenge? We have to convince the people in Israel that this is what we should do. It's not enough to convince people in America that this is what we should convince people in Israel that this is what. And you know, I'm always saying the left, they know how to sell ideas. We need to learn from them how to take an idea and to sell it, to convince people, to advocate for it, to put it on the table in the best possible way, in the most professional way, to put it on the table, to sell it to people. And I think this is our challenge. So this is why I've decided now to have a second Middle East Summit.
When is it?
Especially after everything we've seen happening in the past year. I mean, if the vision of sovereignty was necessary a year ago, now it's even more necessary, because that is the only relevant next step that we can actually do to achieve victory, to really change the Middle East, to really bring, as I've said before, a future of peace, stability, and prosperity to everybody, to Jews, to Arabs, to the Middle East, to the entire world. Because only when the Jewish people will recognize that God Almighty, He is running the show, that He chose the people of Israel, and He gave them the land in order to serve humanity, to build Jerusalem, to build the temple, to be a house of prayers for all nations. Only when we will realize that, and we will do that, then we will see a real peace coming to the world. And this is what we should advocate for, and this is why I'm trying to promote this idea in Israel. And I want to have a summit exactly about that, about materializing it and explaining to people how it will improve the economy, how it will improve the security, how it will be done, the infrastructure, everything. And we have huge opportunities here. I believe in it with all my heart. And I also welcome everybody here to join us, to support that, to be part of that. I have here some booklets. I will give them right after that. If you want to be part of that, if you want to support it, be part of this summit, of this vision, because this is what we need. We need a new vision. And it's not new, actually. It's just the Bible. It's old vision. But this is what we need. And with your help, we might succeed in making it happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Ohad. I'm thinking of somebody who also wrote how the Jewish presence will make the life of the Arabs better. Guess who that was? Theodor Herzl. Yeah. He spoke in his book, The Jewish State, about improving the life conditions in the whole Middle East by bringing the Jewish people back home. And he was right on that. And you have to have also the other side, of course, to agree with this. And yeah, and actually...
But as I said, now there are opportunities. There are new leaders who are saying, this is what we want to see. Arab leaders who are saying, this is what we believe in. This is what we want to see. Yeah. So I think the reality goes in this direction, but we have to also be part of that.
Like Ambassador Friedman said, after years and decades of failure of this two-state solution, why not obey God and see it succeed?
It's time to apply God's policies
Yep.
in the Middle East,
So-
definitely.
Truly a spirit of Theodor Herzl coming back. Thank you. Thank you.